Hello one, hello all, welcome back to the 5-Digit World Cup 2026. You guys are joining us at the very first match of the quarterfinals weekend. On the left side, we have Russia, and on the right, we have Japan. My name is Krew, and joining me in the casting booth is the lovely Philoxen. Philoxen, tell us a little bit about this match. How are you feeling about it?
Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're doing great. I personally have mixed feelings about this one. And especially regarding Japan, because on paper, they are gonna have a hard time against Team Russia. I mean, Russia is seed 5. They are the champions of Europe, and they unfortunately lost to United Kingdom. United Kingdom took their revenge from 5EC and sent them to lose the bracket. It was 6-5. And with that, Russia is now here in the pit of 5-Digit World Cup, and it's gonna be a long journey for them. And the first opponent they have is Japan. Japan, though, is a pretty interesting team to spectate. They played in groups. They lost to China and France, but it was 5-3, so it was a pretty competitive matches all over the place. And also they beat Turkey in round of 16. So even though they are seed 20, they do have some sharp tools in the chat. So maybe we're gonna see a pretty close match. But of course, I personally am a bit biased towards Russia, and I think they are the favorites in this match.
Yeah, definitely, right? But to highlight your point about the sharp tools in the ship for Japan, I think it's definitely going to be the mods. Of course, Russia is a big heavyweight in the losers bracket, right? Completely, like, no matter whether the UK or Russia went down to the losers bracket, meeting in round of 16 was way too early for either one of these countries. So everyone in the losers bracket is gonna have a very difficult time going up against a team as strong as Russia, right? But I think if Japan want to play into their highest chances, if they want the highest chance of coming out on top, they definitely need to look to angle their attacks towards the hidden and the hard rock pool. I think across the board, Russia is one of those countries that are very consistent on all fronts, and particularly strong on speed. You know, they're blanket, one of the top teams. I don't think they have dropped below, or at least far below the top 20, or they definitely don't drop below top 20 on any map whatsoever. And they have a lot of highlight performances in both the hidden and the hard rock pools. But for what it's worth, they're not as consistent. There's a lot of fluctuation within their own respective mod slots apart from the double time. So I think the angle that Japan should attack for is definitely to look to shut down as much of the speed pool as possible.
Yeah, totally agreed. With Russia, they usually go for those versatile gimmicks and tapping maps and also control. But I think, something that you mentioned, that tapping is the skill set that for Japan has always been one of the most intense ones. And yeah, as you can tell, DD2 protect from Team Russia. That's a 230 BPM speed stamina map from Quantum Vortex that we're probably gonna see from them. And Japan, they most likely analyzed Team Russia. I mean, Russia last time, they lost a precision map against United Kingdom, and overall, when it comes to precision, they're not that great. According to qualifiers, Haruto was their last seeding. And now it is Japan protecting Haruto, so that speaks volumes to me. And with that, we're looking at those bans from Russia. Surprisingly going to be Hidden 3, which is a great map that we're not gonna see, a CS1 map. It's a control one, so I'm quite surprised. But looking at Japan, in their previous matches, they always have been picking those hiddens and hardos. Like, literally, it's just those two slot pools, and that's it. And also some like Noma 3, Noma 2 map, but primarily it is about hidden and harder for Japan. So for Russia, it makes complete sense with that 83 ban limit.
Yeah, definitely, I agree, right? I think Russia is it's not really a matter of whether Russia can or cannot play it. It's more so about limiting Japan's options, because as a team that's, in a sort of a different weight class against Japan, they can afford to play more comfortable with their picks. They can afford to counter pick their opponent in that sense. So Russia going for the hidden 3 and I believe I believe we haven't seen the second ban, but I could definitely see them also just going for a hidden one. You know, if they want to shut down the entire hidden pool, or at least the entirety of the hidden pool that Japan can actually play on, I think those are their two best options. Alternatively, I could also see them going for something in the Hard Rock pool. I don't think they go for the Hard Rock 3, but maybe the Hard Rock 1 if they're looking to take out something a bit more accessible. And of course, you can talk a little bit about the free mod 1, maybe try to take out something that's accessible in that aspect as well. I think any one of these three modded or banning into any one of the mods would definitely be beneficial for Russia. But it looks like they are going to be taking a bit of time to get into it. But hopefully we should be able to see the ban come out soon.
Yeah, indeed. You know, regarding Russia, Camille, I
hidden one.
Yes, HG1. All right, Angel of Darkness out of the way. We're not gonna see a W custom from Adbones, but yeah, that is it. Only leaving that AG2 slot open for Japan, and that AG2 in this round is quite awkward aiming, so you know it's not gonna be that enjoyable for Japan to play. Like it doesn't test that much of a gimmick aspect, and
I think first pick gonna be a DT.
Yeah.
I think first pick is gonna be DT1
really?
or DT3. I think it's either one of that from Russia.
Oh, I'd say DT3 is the one you should go with. It's just like, you know, 260 BPM speed cap check. Like those bursts are gonna show the difference between the two. But there is still a ban from Japan, and they're actually they're banning another custom, by the way, which is now at 5, which is a 240 BPM speedy map. So yeah, that definitely tells Russia that speed is something you need to go with after those bans of tapping maps Nomad 2 and Nomad 5, and you still have more tapping maps left in the pool. You know, this pool is just heaven for those tapping players.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the tapping maps that Russia get to play with, right? It's also the Nomad 6, also the Hidden 2. Remember, Russia, as strong as they are as a speed roster, they definitely do have, you know, their gimmicks in their back pockets to score some extra points against Japan. So I think a lot of this match, and you know, the big question as to whether Japan can climb this mountain, it's going to be a fight for survival. Russia has a very easy picking strategy, and they have a very clear angle of attack for this entire match, right? Because you're looking at a DT1 angle into DT3, into something like the Hidden 2, and then the Nomad 6. They have all of these various angles that they can just instantly shut Japan down on decisively, no less, and there really isn't a lot of room, it really isn't a lot of wiggle room for RNG to be played around with if you're Team Japan. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a fight for survival whenever Russia is on the picking side. But Japan is going to kick things off with Hard Rock 3, Philoxen. It's our map, brother!
Is the 6th World Cup 2025 custom from Russia Cat. And I mean, Camille, this is an awesome event.
The 6-digit World Cup 2025. When I first saw that map being produced by Cat, it was the only map in the tournament where I was like, yep, this is insta okay, this is getting pulled. That just goes to show just how fantastic of a Nomad 4 it was. I was very, very apprehensive about the song at first, the song selection at first, but playing the map made me feel a different way. If you have the chance to play this map or play this song, I highly recommend it. It still gives me chills to this day.
No, yeah, indeed, and it tests exactly what it needs. You have that slider tech aspect of the map, also some bursts here and there, but mostly it is going to be pure tech test. With Hard Rock as well, being CS 5.2. And with that, we're gonna be starting. Oh, I see. Good luck, have fun in chat. Last time United Kingdom tried to abuse Hardox against Russia and it backfired. Russia got their points on Hardox against United Kingdom. Let's see if Japan will get in the same trap that Russia prepared for them, or if they will actually get a point, which United Kingdom did not manage to. With that,
Yeah, that's
C5
right.
versus C20. Nothing going.
It's gonna be difficult for Japan, right? Picking Hard Rock into Russia always just feels like a very, very dangerous pick. But you know, when you're against someone that's 1-2 levels out of your weight class, you really have to play more risky. You have to play for different angles, and you need to find different angles of attack, lest your opponent just shoots down every single one that you have. Japan being the one with the first pick do have an advantage in that sense, but at the end of the day, right, it's going to be a very, very steep climb, and it's gonna be a tall ask from Japan, but only time will tell. We'll have to see if they are able to prove us wrong, although the belief is fleeting for Japan.
Indeed, after all, Japan has the most versatile roster on those Hardogs. They always have like 6 or 7 people always stepping in for different Hardog maps, so they know the deal when it comes to Hardog. And so far, the Ki is starting Nix and Ice Stones going down. They're traded by Jerry, but that's not gonna do much, as Japan is still having that 3-way FC from Choco, Kiri, and Amber. Russia is trying to keep up, and the accuracy is actually kind of saving them. But not for so long, especially after a triple break. It's only Rage and Dash now, Gamili trying to stop the bleeding.
Oh, early onset of the map, and a lot of blood is spilling from Russia. All 4 members losing their FCs, losing control of the scoreline instantly. And Japan, I mean, despite being at an accuracy deficit in the early sections of the map, that 3-way is definitely going to give them a lot of legroom moving into the next quarter of the map. I will say though, it is all in the last half. The last quarter is probably the most difficult section of the map. So Japan aren't quite out of the clear just yet. We are still very early days, but it's gonna look very, very nice for them. But in the disconnect, it looks like we saw 3 misses come out from Team Japan going into the break. Oh man, I hate Vancho.
Yeah, and I also did see massive combos on the side of Team Russia. No, look at that!
Oh,
wait,
that's
what happened?
We're talking about.
Wait, we've been lied to, and Russia now, they have everything in their hands. They see the light at the end of the tunnel to bring that breakpoint alive. Japan, they're trying to not let anything slide, but it's just not happening. Kiri and Amber, that's not gonna be enough to counter Russian combos. And with that, Russia, the machine, is marching towards the last Ki. Gamili, do they have what it takes to get a breakpoint? And I think they do.
That's right, we see 2 misses from the top row of Russia. The machine is moving, but it's gonna break down. It's showing signs of wear and tear. Japan are trying their damn hardest to bring it back. 3 recoveries, 3 large recoveries from Japan, going into the most difficult KI of the map, most difficult sections of the map, and it all is contingent on Ice Stones. Trades down with Kyria right now, and Nyx is the next one to add to the toll. For what it's worth, Japan has 2 large combos now, 1 large combo as Jersey and Choco both fall against Miaozate. The both corners of Russia and Japan are beating up against each other, but in the war of attrition, Miaozate comes out on top.
Yeah, indeed, and that's going to be the first breakpoint of the match, the first pick of Team Japan backfire, and that's what I was scared of, Gamili. If United Kingdom loses Hardox against Russia, then for Japan it was also really close, but not enough. And Malzart was the one to lead the charge, get a first point on the board of Team Russia, and that is a great start on their side and a devastating beginning for Team Japan into this match.
Yeah, I know, very, very dangerous, right? Team Japan is already going for sort of fight for survival. A lot of this match is going to be Team Japan's fight for survival, and given how they already lost the point, it's going to be very, very difficult because now they need to win a break point. They need to win a break point on one of Russia's strong, decisive picks, right? And the fact of the matter is, as we were saying before, that Russia just has so much to pick into, not just the speed, but they also have, both of the gimmick maps hidden to and Nomad 6. I think DT1, where DT1 and DT3 is concerned, it's basically a dead zone. I really do not see a world where Japan is able to beat Russia on those 2 maps. I do think that there is a little bit more wiggle room on the gimmicks, but I mean, Sound Boomer, man. Sound Boomer, looming Sound Boomer threat. Probably the best gimmick player in 5WC, full stop. Is a looming threat on all the gimmick picks, so it's not even going to be easy there.
I mean, hey, that you know, besides like all the information that we have, I mean, Russia did pick games against Nightcore, and they actually lost those maps. So they
that's true.
oh, okay, so they're doing it again,
Yeah,
trying to double down against Japan now, and we're seeing Yona dance and Gamili. That is a Newton map. That is a Newton map. This is the guy who maps no irony, faithlessness, and everything like that. Met Headlove. So you know, you can expect what kind of map this is. This is
guys, the SOTAPs
yeah.
of overlap, perfect overlap.
I know, right? I know, right? Like those not even just overlaps, but also like all the maps that he maps, they are also like rhythm heavy. So it is overlaps with rhythm. And this one, I believe, was a custom for a Swedish tournament back in 2024 from Newton. So, you know, by the song you can tell that it is going to be that exact test of overlaps with rhythm changes, and overall this one's pretty long, pretty slow, and in comparison to the previous one, the previous gimmick one we had, this one does not rely on your mechanic skills. This is 4.4 stars, so you literally do not have to aim. This is a raw reading. That's the name of the game here.
Yeah, and in some aspects of Loxon, I even consider this map sort of memory reliant, right? Maybe not so much about the patterning, because I don't think the patterning is that crazy at the end of the day. It is only, I say it is only AR6. That is still, you know, like 0.3 something AR lower than your typical map. But for what it's worth, it is not low enough that I think it's harsh memory. But I think there is definitely a lot of value in understanding the rhythm and how it relates to the pattern of this map, because the patterning is definitely the main point of contention, is the main point of difficulty for a map like this, right? But you know, you think about how important understanding the song and, you know, memory yada 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 is, but then you realize this map is also 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, so it is another element of difficulty. Having to have your brain melt on AR6 for a whopping 3 minutes and 40 seconds is definitely a pretty large definitely puts a pretty large mental toll on you. And if you're not comfortable on the AR, if you're not comfortable in the map in general, it's very easy to just completely lose control of the map very, very quickly. Lose control of the rhythm very, very quickly. And, you know, on a lot of Newton maps, it's very difficult to get lost. But here we go. Yona down. It's going to be Russia's debuting pick. No Mod 6. Here we go.
Yep, indeed. And we do see Sound Boomer as expected, though I'm a bit surprised, Gami, that we do not see Ice Stones. It is going to be Nyx instead. Nyx is a really strong tapping player, but also is in for gimmicks, which I'm not sure what happened to Ice Stones here. But we shall just wait and see. Maybe Nyx is the dark horse that we never expected to pop off on gimmicks. And so far, Russia is going to be slightly winning in terms of that accuracy. 98% from 3 out of 4 players on the Russian side. Japan is still holding a 4-way FC, so it's just going to be the first KI that will pull apart both teams. And Rumia, the carry of Team Japan, is going to be the first one to fall.
Yeah, definitely. From the accuracies, it definitely looks like Rumia is one of those players that, you know, are generally well-rounded, but definitely not specialized towards the gimmick slot. Jerry being the next one to find a miss, and Russia is already going to hold an early front foot, an early leg against the likes of Japan, holding 4 FCs to their 2. And, you know, this is not a very combo-dense map. You know, the combo gets generated very, very slowly, of course, given how it's not the densest map in terms of node density. Map is only 4.5 stars, so should give you a good insight into how much density there actually is to be had in a map like this. But for what it's worth, it's just going to make it all the more difficult for Japan to mount any sort of comeback. However, going into the break, Nyx and Wavy both find misses, but it is going to be traded out by Kotomori, so we're not quite equal just yet.
Yep, so far it is Soundboomer and Raging Dashi being in the driver's seat. Raging Dashi with 99% accuracy, Soundboomer is 98. Maybe find another break, but you look at the lead, it is 160k, and it's only growing up. Choco finding a break, and overall, Japan cannot get that grip on this map. It's only Jerry and Rumia with recoveries, but you need way more, and those misses from Japan are just adding fuel to the fire. Gamili with Russia, they're already running away. We're only halfway through the map, but look at the damage. It has been done way before the ending of the map, and that is a very solid difference.
Yeah, it's an absolute brutalization coming in from Russia going into the last third of the map, right? I mean, you just look at their accuracies and it puts into context just how much more comfortable they are than, you know, the Japanese lineup. You know, the Japan's team scores are by no means by no means poor, right? This is definitely a pretty damn difficult map, but what do you even do when you're against, you know, double 99s from the entire top row of Russia? Finally, Raging Dash Heat finally goes down, but of course, we've talked a little bit about him before this map was even picked, but Sound Boomer is just unbeatable when it comes to the gimmicks. This is his playfield. This is his ballpark.
Yeah, what can I say, Gamili? The Russian bear is awake. He is the reason why, he is one of the main reasons why Russia won 5EC, why Russia is considered to be one of the strongest gimmick teams in the tournament. And with that, Sound Boomer freezes the entire lobby with his fantastic score, 99.24% accuracy. It's only growing. Can he bring it to a full combo by the end of the map is the only question we have right now, Gamili. That is just his show, and this is just his world that we're living in.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very, very good way to put it, right? At AR6 is, or low AR in general, really is just Sound Boomer's world. Nobody perceives a map as cleanly and as clearly as Sound Boomer does. So yeah, a very, very decisive pick for Russia, and it definitely makes that going to that hidden 2 all the more enticing for them. And in fact, for Loxon, I was talking about perhaps their speed being their strongest suit. In fact, given the trajectory of this pick, it actually makes me feel as though their gimmicks are actually even more decisive and even more clear cut than the speed picks. So definitely expecting that hidden 2 to be shot as soon as possible for them.
Yeah. Hidden 2. I will be really excited to see that one. Even though considering, like, you know, reading Vice, that Nomad 6 is way heavier than AG2, but still, Hidden 2 is Hidden 2 after all. It's your AR8 with Hidden, so you need real reading abilities whatsoever for this one. And yeah, for Russia, there is a lot of opportunities later on. While for Japan, their pool of opportunities is shrinking once again. Nomad 4 seems like it's gonna be one of their last resorts. So I will put it that way, Gamili.
Okay, Nomad 4. I think this is definitely them trying to double down into the tech angle, right? They pulled out pretty close on Hard Rock 3. You know, they got pretty close to beating Russia on the Hard Rock 3. And I think overall, of the top teams of the tournament, Russia are one of the weaker teams when it comes to tech in general, like tech as a blanket skill set. So I think what Japan is trying to do is they're trying to shoot their shot again at the tech and trying to look for the gamble. And you know what, honestly, analyzing how well they did on the Hard Rock 3, I definitely think that this is a sound play.
Yeah, and this one features even more of those slider patterns. I mean, it's a map from Blackhead Design, right? It is Nomad 4. This map literally has zero tapping. It is just pure kick sliders, pure cross-screen slider tag patterns, and that is what makes Blackhead Design maps so incredible. It is only 5.7 stars. It is 3 minutes, so you will need not only your tag skills but also consistency, which Japan definitely does have when it comes to those techy maps. So, you know, they have everything they need. They just need not to fumble. Harusu was close. If they get a bit more lucky on this one, I am pretty sure that's going to be the first point on their board.
Yeah, that's right. But before we get into the match, I mean, I wanted to shout out Blackie Design, right? Blackie, it's in his name. It's in his name. Slider design and tech design. Blackie Design is one of the front runners when it comes to visual tech, and so this map is definitely no exception, right? I think we'll be expecting a lot of intestine sliders, a lot of. I mean, it might not be an Onumi song, but it is an Onumi remix, and if you're familiar with their style of composition, it really lends itself to these very, very big sliders. Onumi is so popular in, you know, higher ranked ranges and in open rank, and has done a few OSA originals, but every single one of them plays so similarly in principle. Big sliders. So I'm very excited to see a map like this, and I think this is definitely a fan favorite when it comes to, you know, the overall song. But yeah, we're gonna get straight into the action. Looks like Friendin gonna be making their in-match debut for Team Russia. whereas everybody, you know, just shuffling their players around as expected.
Yep, we're just waiting for the beginning. Rumia, Choco, Jerry, and Kotomori for Team Japan. All eyes on Rumia. After all, Rumia is the hyper carry of Team Japan, and so far he hasn't shot his shot. So, you know, if there is anyone to pop up on the side of Team Japan, I am rooting for Rumia, as we're gonna be starting off this map very slowly, but soon enough. We're seeing the sliders, Ice Stones being the first breach in the defense of Team Russia. Wavy is following him, so right off the bat it's 2 FCs versus 4, and Japan is having that early advantage, early lag room that they definitely need, as later on the map will only get harder and harder, and here we are with the first Yagamili.
Yeah, you say that, Philoxum, right? But we saw this exact script play out in the Hard Rock 3. We saw a bunch of early misses coming in from Russia, and then, you know, the Bancho flop happened, and then all of the combos just went down for Team Japan. So they are by no means anywhere near the out of the clearing or into the clearing. 60k and 50k scoreline now going in favor of Team Japan, and it's only going to continue to compound as Raving Dashi finds the miss on the top right of Russia. But going into the more dense section of the map, a lot of linear aim patterns, a lot of wide space jumps coming to attack these players, and Choco alongside Yuri both 5 misses. But for what it's worth, I do think we're gonna see a bit of stagnation, but not for long though, as Russia has Wavy and Ice Stones coming in hot with the recovery.
Yeah, Japan just cannot hold that pressure that is applied to them. I mean, they already lost 2 of their FCs. Rumi and Kotomori are still pulling this map apart, but Russia, with all those recoveries and an FC from Ferning, as we're opening the second PI, is only gonna escalate for Team Japan. 50k and Russia is taking over the lead. Once again, Gamili, it's the same story that we saw on that Hard Rock 3, and Russia is not even planning to stop whatsoever.
Yeah. That's right, the Russian freight train is just going to keep on pushing up against Team Japan, and with Rumia finding the miss one by one, the dominoes fall for Russia right now, and they're looking at 3 massive combos to continue to compound and compound and compound, not to mention Raging Dashi basically cancelling out any sort of recovery that Japan can put on the board going into the last quarter of the map, and it's just the style points as Kotomori is completely outnumbered, completely cornered, and he falls and he succumbs to the Russian pressure as we move into the last 8 of the map.
Yeah, they're breaking through every line, Gamila. They're out for blood. It's just last 10 seconds of the map, and look at Printing completely destroying this map with those recoveries from Ice Stones and Wavy. It looks like those strategic misses from Team Russia paid off very well, and that lead is just pure dominance. Over 1 million is gonna be now, almost. We can round it up, and that just speaks volumes, Gamili. 3-0.
Yeah, no,
2 breakpoints.
The same script of Hard Rock 3 just came through, right? Except this time, that lead from Russia got magnitude tenfold in favor of their side. And really, it just goes to show it's so difficult to pick into Russia. And I think definitely what gave Japan the upper hand on that Hard Rock was the Hard Rock element of it, right? The higher AR, the lower CS. And Japan just didn't have that leniency going into this No Mod 4. No Mod 4, probably one of the most accessible tag map in the pool when it comes to, you know, raw statistics and raw mapping from a raw mapping perspective. But and you know, that sort of accessibility just allowed Russia to outnumber the likes of Japan when it came to trying to fight for that point. And ding ding ding, Philoxon, we are going into the speed for Russia, not hesitating whatsoever.
Oh boy. Yep. I mean, you know, Gamili, it is a song from Lime, and when it comes to Lime song, you can always expect.
Lime.
Yeah. I mean, Campanella is a beautiful creation that Lime made, and of course, almost every song that is from Lime, they are really tapping heavy, and this one is going to be no exception. It is Aurora, 260 BPM. It is your speed cap check, a lot of bursts. The map is quite short, but that's not the point. It is just about your high BPM skills, high BPM speed skills. That's, I know for sure Russia does have. The only question, does Japan have what it takes? They lost DT3 against Turkey last time. It was a 30k score difference. And overall, based on their scores, they do not look that comfortable. I do want to point out Eisuke, the guy who got 800k on that DT3 last round. But besides him, it's going to be a really hard pill to swallow for all the others on the side of Team Japan to try and get a really good score on this DT3.
Yeah, definitely, right? Especially when you think about the accessibility of this map. This map clocks in at a whopping 267 BPM, so it is the highest BPM map in the pool, and against a country as comfortable on speed as Russia, really, I think this is just comfort abuse, right? Even if Japan can put a combo on the board, it's only they're only under they're just being placed under a timer, as Russia is most likely going to continuously hold accuracy upon accuracy upon accuracy, and that sort of safety net just completely safeguards them from any sort of large combo that Japan can put on the board. And for what it's worth, they can most definitely rely and count on Japan's lack of thereof to allow them to find opportunities for recovery, even if Russia find misses, which is assuming Russia even finds misses, which, you know, it's definitely possible for them to run away with a 3-0 overall team score on a map like this. So welcome to Lime Aurora. Big fan of Lime songs, but that's not what you guys are here to see. We are talking about the players here. Choco early onside of the map, finding that early miss. So 7 FCs across the board.
Yeah, and Russia is already showcasing their strength by sheer accuracy. The break from Buriska doesn't even matter. It's already 200k. What? Wait, hold on. I just blinked and like they already have that whopping lead, huh? We're already 1/3 into the map. They're just slicing through those bursts as it's nothing for them. Jerry finding another break. Choco with no FC. Eisuke losing their FC, and it's only Kiria now trying to be the last line of defense for Team Japan. But Gamili, I don't know.
We're moving into the calm before the source. We are moving into the calm before the storm, sort of the middle section of the map. But look at the timer, look at the drain of this map, right? It's 1 minute and 23 seconds, and the numbers are thinning out from Japan extremely quickly. Kiria is really the only one left with any sort of combo, and even he goes down. And meanwhile, you look at the side of Russia, knock. 3 FCs, now 2 FCs, with a massive recovery coming in from Boriska, going to the last quarter of the map, and that scoreline has grown to a whopping 1.7 million. I mean, what are we even doing? They're just going so close to the sun, and it looks like they're gonna cash out on a handsome 3.8, almost 4 million team score. Yeah, I mean, what do you do? Yeah, did GG go next? Honestly, just a
what
GG go
is
next.
this? Gabriel, this
Swift,
is what
clean. Smooth criminal, Russia, bro. Smooth criminal. Holy crap.
Yeah, they only got 1 FC, but you know, all these scores, they were like either chokes or reverse chokes, and holy dominance, holy value.
That was so
Russia
fast.
Those
like that was so
really
fast. Like they legitimately, like if you were watching the VOD, it'd be so easy to just skip past this point. It's like Russia went into the backline of Japan, planted something, and suddenly they all did. Like they all did. Like they all did.
And this is not even their protect.
That's
the
true.
worst
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
That's
exactly.
The worst part.
And you can't even fault Japan, right? Because like, given how decisive that DT3 was, could you really blame them for going for no more 2 and no more 5? I mean, it was bound to happen, and now Russia just has DT2, and they can guarantee tiebreaker. But that's definitely not what they're looking for, right? They have such a clear gateway. Even if Japan can put points on the board, they just go hidden 2, DT2, over, game over.
Yeah, that will be the picture perfect scenario for Team Russia. Okay, I see the strat Japan is changing here, going to Nomad 1.
Okay.
Before that it was tech map, so now they found out the strategy does not really work out, so they're trying to gamble on that Nomad 1 RNG pick. It is a custom from Humanexa, so shoutouts to Humanexa. A really nice mapper, mapped I Know Utah, which I'm a big fan of. And this one is gonna feature just a lot of those consistency jumps. So it is 4 minutes. It is your raw aim check. And for Japan, if they feel comfortable on this one, then yeah, why not just pick it? If tag doesn't work against Russia, if gimmicks don't work against Russia, you do not have many options left. So I understand that pick.
Yeah, definitely right. They're really just playing the fog of war here. Nothing much to say from a strategic standpoint, apart from the fact that it's clear to see that Japan has really Russia has really run their toll on Japan. They have no sort of outlaw of attack anymore, and they're really just looking to shoot off with blanks. There's no more one. It's really just a Hail Mary send pick, and if Russia wins this, it is also Japan's last pick. So, I definitely like the angle. Right, they're looking to just stop try. They're looking to avoid playing risk. They're looking to shut down any sort of search for an angle and just look to stick to something that everybody can play. But when it comes to consistency, right, it's hard not to look at Russia. Nomad 4 was such a good overall team score alongside coming from the momentum of that DT3. Going into the Nomad 1 is going to be super comfy for Russia overall. And given how they are also the team that's 4 points above their opponents, mental high ground is also in favor of the left side.
Indeed. Like I'm very scared for Japan here because Camille, it's like their strategy is good. Like they're making the right picks like all the time. Like tag and now that RNG gamble. Like yes, it works well. But this is what happens when you have a good strategy and you're just playing against giants of the tournament. It doesn't help.
Yeah. It's the story of playing against opponents that are just far out of your weight class, right? There is only so far smart strategy or good picking can take you as a country, and really, I personally don't think Japan hold themselves too harshly for even if they come out going out of the tournament from this matchup, because really, what can you do against Russia, right? Russia has no business being in losers bracket this early.
Indeed, and I mean, yeah, if Japan hit, yeah, we just have a hit sound map, right? I guess no song for some reason. That's not gonna stop us. That's not gonna stop Russia either. With a break from Raging Dashi, though, it might flip the score for Team Japan, as they currently have the combo advantage because Kyria found a break, but they recovered really well. So far, it's just the first get we're waiting for, as the map is gonna show its true colors, and here we are. No one is finding any breaks, Gamili.
Yeah, showing their true colors with a bunch of hits on, so you love to see it. We're going into the first bout of the jump section of the map. This is the first KI. The early prospects actually look pretty favored towards Japan, as Raging Dashi found a bunch of early misses, and now with Miyauzate missing right out of the gate, Japan actually have a lot of leg room to play with. They have 3 FCs and a recovery from Keria, so they're just now looking to squeeze out as much score and as much combo as they can, trying to make as much difference from Russia. But of course, the accuracy is going to keep their lead in check, right? It's always going to be a looming force, and for what it's worth, Philoxen, I didn't quite get a chance to talk about this in the earlier sections of the match, but the thing about Russia is that with how much accuracy they can generate on every single map, they always put Japan on a ticking time bomb, right? They're just waiting for the next miss from Japan to come out. And look, even if Raging Dashi finds a miss, that scoreline is still very much so in reach for Russia if Japan so much as so finds a single miss or single hit to their combo.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's what happens when you have the most experienced 500 tourney players on the side of Team Russia. All of them have crazy tourney experience, but now, with a break from Ferdinand Gamili, things might be different. The comeback lights are flashing for Team Japan. 136k score. They still have a 3-way, almost a 4-way actually. It's a reverse choke from Kyria. It might be dream come true for them. That is a brilliant pick so far. They just need not to fall, and they're finding a triple break. With that, Tomori is the only one trying to keep everything together against Baby, who's trading him. But you look at Mausarte, he has a recovery that no one can trade on the side of Team Japan. They need a miracle, and a break for Mausarte is going to be that one that they were looking for. But Kotomori is finding a break, Gamili.
Hold up, this KI is keeping all the likes of Russia weak right now in terms of the combo. Wavy just the only one with any sort of combo on the board, and that scoreline is going to see some motion. With 1/3 of the map still left in the tank, it's all going to be contingent as to whether Wavy wants this scoreline. We're moving into a very, very awkward aim section. The sliders coming to clear, and Wavy, the last bastion of hope for Team Russia, falls. As everybody in the lobby finds a miss, the battlefield is littered with bodies. But for Loxon, I think that's only going to lead to stagnation. And with a quarter of the map left, I think Choco is going to be just enough to escort that scoreline. Albeit with a very, very tight scoreline at hand.
Yeah, it wasn't a dominant victory on Team Japan, but they didn't just play slightly better, they played smarter is what matters. That Nomad 1 completely changed the strategy mid-match. and getting the first point due to that is definitely something I respect a lot. And Japan managed to pull it off in a brilliant way. And with that, we're only here with the outro of the map. That was the hardest flow burst of the map, and Choco hit it. That basically leaves us thinking that yes, Japan, that was the right thing to do, and you got all the right cards that you played on this No 1-1, which is really great. First point on the side of Team Japan, and it's definitely not going to be a sweep now.
Definitely, right? It's one thing to fault. I think you can definitely draw a lot of fault to a team for say picking strategy, but I think you summed it up very well. Japan made all the right decisions in this match. It really just is a matter of that player difference that they just can't seem to contend with, and really you can't fault Japan. You can't fault Japan for that. And also one additional thing, Philox and you know, we're 5 maps in. I haven't seen Levekia in for a single pick. Is that perhaps he's absent? Perhaps Levekia is just not here for the match, which is a bit concerning given how, you know, they are the big international talent from Japan. So that could also potentially... Are they? Have they played a map?
No, they haven't played the map, but overall the thing is I haven't seen Levica being really present on most of the maps for Japan's matches. Like even in the qualifiers, Levica only played 3 maps. And in the recent matches, I also didn't see Levica play a lot. So he's not the main source of power for Team Japan.
Perhaps he's just not in good condition. Maybe he's just not in good condition for the World Cup. Yeah. But reorienting ourselves back into the match, like we can talk up Japan all we want, but fact of the matter still stands, right? Russia goes for DT2, and then they still have 3 options left at their disposal. They can go for the Hidden 2, which I think is their best option, just looking to double down the gimmick. The DT1 if that doesn't work out, and the Hard Rock 1 if that doesn't work out. Hard Rock 1 I know sort of favors, Hard Rock in general sort of favors Japan, I know, but you know, Hard Rock 1 is mechanics, it's mixed mechanics, it's high BPM aim, and the BPM comfort definitely lies in the hands of Russia. But also for Loxon, I'm pretty interested to see when Japan decides to shoot for their protect, because they've been holding it for pretty damn long. Perhaps they are, you know, even too afraid of going into their
I feel like they have to use it. I feel like they have to use it after that DT2 that got picked from Russia.
Yeah, definitely.
No, and about this DD2, it's a protect for a reason. I mean, this is bread and butter for all
Quantum
those tapping
Vortex.
players. It was a custom from Quantum Vortex for a very recent tournament, actually. It was a Fish Cup custom from him. And it is 230-something BPM. A lot of long bursts on this map. And the worst part for the Japanese roster is that those bursts, they follow each other. Like, they're very dense. And it not only tests, you know, your overall speed skills, but also your stamina here. The map is 2 minutes long, so there is plenty of those. And for Team Russia, that is gonna be something they are looking for all the time and play in those matches.
Yeah. I think this map will be an interesting indicator. I mean, it probably doesn't matter as much, but this map is a pretty good indicator as to whether Japan is speed cap or stamina cap, right? This map has 2 elements of difficulty, of course. One being the 230 BPM, which is, for what it's worth, it is 40 BPM lower than what we saw from GT3, and that was the dominant pick that Russia won on. So, you know, a case could be made for Japan in that sense, where perhaps a map 40 BPM down would be something more palatable to Japan's fingers, of course. But at the same time, where this map lacks in comparison to DT3 in terms of that raw speed, it definitely makes up for it in, as you mentioned, right, the stamina. These bursts can come up to 9 note, 10 note, even 11 notes if I'm not mistaken in the later KI. So definitely just going to be a raw shred of speed.
Indeed it is. And this is looking very good for Team Russia. With their roster, you see Boriska, your Hard Rock and double time specialist, one of the strongest tapping players in the tournament. Also Nyx, Baby, and Mozart. That is a diabolical roster. And we're gonna be starting off this map with the opening burst that everybody is hitting except Nyx, but it's not gonna matter whatsoever. I mean, you look at Russia, the accuracy is already speaking volumes, Gamili. It's only the beginning, but you already have a 100k score advantage.
Yeah, really, it just seems as though the Russia is just that much better on the tapping mechanics, right? Japan just can't seem to get it together. I mean, even their Lone FC and Jerry really isn't doing that hot in the accuracy department, and then you reorient your eyes to what Russia is putting on show, and you're looking at a 98% act from Boriska. I mean, do you really expect anything less coming in from the Russian roster? Really, it's just a culling. It's just a complete massacre on this DT2, and it's something that we most definitely expected given the trajectory of that DT3.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, and Russia is already standing on business. A cold front sweeping across the map, Gamili. Already a 1 million team score difference. This 3-way FC, Knicks finding the break, unfortunate, but it's not gonna stop the machine. With that, they see the break. You look at Japan's
They're doubling their
scores.
score again. They're doubling their score again.
I do not want to jinx it. They might even triple the score. Who knows, Gamili? With a 3-way FC still being present here, I am terrified to think what's gonna happen. But this is full-on domination from Russia. This is what champions look like, Gamili. 1 quarter left, and there is just nothing that can be done. Even if Russia just completely stops playing, it's gonna be more than enough for them to win that attack.
Yeah, that's right. And then at this juncture, it's only for style points. We're going to the last sections of the map. The most intense of the shred patterns comes to attack these players. The most flow aim intensive as well. The bulk of the flowing of the map is all in this section, and we see a bunch of miss being littered on the Japanese roster. Kyria once again being the sole survivor when it comes to the speed, but it's nowhere near enough to put a T to what Russia has demonstrated. 3.6 million score to put on the board, taking them to match point.
Gamili, they could 2v4 this map.
They literally, what can you do, man? What can you do?
2v4 this map. This is terrible. It is now do or die, make or break for Team Japan. They're 1 point away from getting eliminated from the tournament. They still do have their protect, so I'm guessing that is the option you should go with. But after, even if you win that protect, what do you have in store for Team Russia next time?
Yeah, that is the big question, right? I mean, it's very difficult to play or continue playing a match when you know that your fate has basically been sealed, given what the options that your opponents still have left, right? In order for you to even begin to think about, you need to beat Russia on their home field, and that is that DT1. That is the
We're back. All right, welcome everybody.
Hello.
Everyone who just tuned in. Russia is winning 5-1 against Team Japan, and it is Japan's pick, which is at least somewhat hopeful. If they get a point, there might be an outcome where they get 1 or 2 more, and that's gonna do wonders for them. But as of now, Russia is feeling extremely confident. They're back from doubling the score of Team Japan on that DT2 on their protect, and they're not softening the grip.
Yeah, very, very well said from you, right, Philoxon. I think at any juncture here, Russia can just game M Japan, and I'm not too sure what they went for in the picking department. I think we'll need a refresher on that.
Ooh, we do see Haruk 2 as a pick, and we do see
Haruk
Good
2?
Luck have fun. Yeah, that is
okay.
Haruk 2. It's
That
a
is
custom
Haruk
from
2.
Alvaria. Also known as Alia. So yeah, Alvaria, first of all, shout outs to the mapper. Being a really active mapper for tournaments, mapping for 3WC, 4WC, 5WC,
And
5WC,
Res
like everything, and Res Cup, of course. Everything like that, and it is a pleasure having a custom for this Haruk 2 in 5WC as well.
Fun fact, do you know Averia was a 5WC 2020 winner? Like, I always forget that this guy was once a GOAT.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah, alright then. With the shoutout section away, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens to Japan on this one. By the end of the map, we'll find out if Japan leaves the tournament or they still have a chance to get some points against Russia. This map is, of course, precision CS6.5. You have a lot of bursts here and there as well, some flow aim streams, which are really diabolical, which are really hard to hit. But so far, for both teams, it is very much accessible.
It's really, really difficult to watch, right? We're going into such a volatile section of the map. I mean, the triples, you know, your entry and exit of every single one of these nodes have to be on point, especially given the CS 6.5 nature. But every single team looks to be very, very comfortable. But as I say that, Russia finding 2 misses in Fringe and Meow, now 3 misses in Fringe and Wavy and Meow Zate. It is going to be traded up by Japan's 2 misses from their bottom row, and it's going to be compounded as Choco finds yet another miss. So now it's just going to be a 1v1 on both corners of the playfield. Icetones versus Amber right now going into the second half of the map. Still so tied up, but Japan just looks like they have a bit more leg room, a bit more space to play with.
Yeah, Gamili, both forces are falling with one wall at a time. It is only Icetones and Amber that are trading each other out.
Oh no, we're gonna see some crazy stuff happen when we're back.
We are indeed, but after that, I'll tune in. We're seeing Icetones and Amber not having those FCs. So it is now up to Kotimura and Kyria to keep the dream alive, and Gamili, they are doing it.
That's right, indeed they are. We're moving into the last quarter of the map, and Japan is just gonna be a matter of whether they can keep it in their ballpark. Of course, there is still definitely enough time for Russia to still make this comeback, right? We see misses cover the screen of Japan, but the scoreline is just going to continue to remain on the side of Japan. It is flickering here and there, but I think that's more so banter issues rather than actual difference being made to the scoreline. Icetones finding the miss, and you know, with Japan, I mean, they're walking away with their Protect, and Philoxen, I think they still got one more in them.
They still got one more in them. They found the Achilles heel of Team Russia, and that being precision. United Kingdom also abused that precision strategy against Russia, and that is something that Japan did very well with their Protect. Russia would have definitely banned this one. But with that, right, so it is 2-5. So, oh god, oh please no, oh please.
It's either hidden 2 or DT1. It has to be one or the other. I think Halv just bomb both the DT1 and the hidden 2. But I really don't think there's any way else to splice it. Although, I will say the hidden 2 is definitely a lot more winnable for Japan because it is AR8, and you know, it's more so centric on the aim side of things, right? It's more centric on how the AR8 hidden affects your consistency overall. So in that sense, Japan should most definitely put up a pretty good fight on the hidden 2. And DT1 in general is one of the more accessible maps in the pool. The big question is just going to be as to whether Japan can cope, right, with the higher AR, with the higher BPM aim. But of course, like, DT4 is still there. DT4 is still there. So really, Russia just, the pool is their oyster. They can really go into anything, and you know, it'd be justifiable for them.
It's like not even those 3 options, but like also all the Fremont. You look at down, you just send Sound Boomer with easy, and you see the points stack up. That's it. Yeah. So it is a grade full of options for Russia, and Fremont 1 is the one we're going with. A very fascinating map, must I say. It is a map from 0PP and also, so you know, Gamili, that says a lot.
Oh, time for me to talk. Time for me to talk.
Yep, alright, go for it.
By the way, I do believe, Philoxen, that this is the map that Spawny, the person who timed the map, posted in our Project Hexagon channel, and he was like, this is the big new tournament map that should get pulled everywhere.
It is great.
And you know what? It is a fantastic map. Callus, I know Callus isn't the one who mapped it, but Callus has been one of the big frontrunners of this new gen messy style of mapping. And of course, 0PP and Osu, right, is commonly known as one of the best mappers when it comes to this style of messy tech. Right, nobody maps tech like 0PP and Osu, and I think this collab with Mangi really speaks for itself. This map features a lot of, you know, a lot of patterns that would commonly be seen in alt maps, but it features a lot of techie elements and a lot of slider tech elements as well. And of course, when you throw mods in, it's definitely gonna be a tussle and a half.
Yeah, I mean, all that plus, you know, you also have a lot of those crazy slider spams in the map. But The best part is that this one, it doesn't really feel like a tech map. Like it feels enjoyable to play. That's the point. And yeah, of course it is pretty hard, but once you get a pretty stable score on this one, that is gonna do huge in terms of your win on this map. Japan and Russia, so far, both teams are pretty good when it comes to control. And of course, Russia was the one to always pick control in those 5 EC matches for the most part. And now they are getting back to their roots with this free mod 1. The easy multiplier, if we are seeing Sound Boomer, is counted in the scoreboard, so we do not have to do any additional calculations after the map. So the points that you are going to be seeing, they are as they are. Icestones, Frinnen, Raging, Dashi to Halv, Sound Boomer, and Kotomori, Amber, Jerry, and Choco for Team Japan. I'm assuming we're going to see a bunch of Harlots for Team Japan, since that's what they're famous for, but it looks like it's going to be 2 hiddens actually. 3 hiddens and 1 Harlock. And for Russia, it is double hidden and overmod from Icestones, very classy from him, and Sound Boomer with an easy, of course, Gamili.
Yeah, and we are getting straight into the action. I mean, this map does not give these players any time to warm up, right? Instantly these players are being greeted with a bunch of the tapping, a bunch of the sliders, and a bunch of the awkward aim. And I really do believe that this free mod 1 is the sort of omni skill set map of the pool, right? There really is just so much for these players to have to deal with over the course of this map. There's a lot of awkward aim, there's a lot of slider aim, and because of how dense the map is, there is also a lot of reading. There is a deceptive amount of reading that goes into playing a map like this. And it just goes to show, right? We see a lot of misses clear the screen in the first quarter of the map. Sound Boomer, Choco, and Kotomori all find the misses for their respective teams. But it looks like in the tussle, in this little scuffle, Russia is going to edge out with a slight score lead, albeit it is still by a knife's edge.
Yeah, Russia is surviving through that battlefield over and over. Icestone still have seen was hidden hard rock. Never mind, not a scene anymore. But overall, the difficulty of these maps, it speaks for itself. Like Sound Boomer is having troubles with easy, and that tells you a lot about this map. Frinnen though, finding another one. It's only 40k with Raging Dash trying to stop everything, but Amber with a 700 combo, that's an FC, and he got his 2 sidekicks, Choco and Kotomori, with the assist here. They are flipping it over. I mean, this is not supposed to be happening.
And that's what I was thinking, right? Why would Russia go for a pick like this when you have, this is by no means a bad pick from Russia. I definitely do think that this could be just a Japan overperformance, but why take the risk when, your opponents are capable of doing this? Kotomori finds a miss, but it doesn't matter whatsoever. I mean, Amber and Choco are just here to continue to lengthen the gap between Japan and Russia going into this last quarter of the map. And it's already 200k. I mean, Sound Boomer, right? That easy multiplier is already calculated, so it is as you see it. There's really no other way to slice it. Going to the last section of the map, Choco might find a miss, but where's the response? Amber might find a miss, but where is the response? Coming in from Team Russia, going to the last 8 of the map, there's nothing. There's nothing they can do, and Japan have been able to put another point on the board where all seemed lost.
No, and it looks like David is gonna take down Goliath, with Japan taking the 3rd point against Team Russia, and it's the first break point for them. That is a major momentum for Team Japan right here. 5-3. It is loser bracket. They're always one step away from getting eliminated, and they got the next pick. After winning this one, they might be feeling really well, Gamili. I mean, after those phenomenal scores from everybody on Team Japan, like they all did their impact that they needed. It wasn't like a 500,000 team score difference, but it was 100k. It's one cut at a time. That's how you win maps. That's how you win matches. And it seems like they finally found their strengths. Reveal their strengths in this match against Team Russia, and maybe they know what to do.
I mean, I could definitely see Japan pivoting towards another free mod pick, building off this free mod 1, right? Could definitely see them going into a free mod 3. It is a bit more reading intensive, but not reading intensive, but it is a bit more tapping intensive than this free mod 1. But at the same time, it's not fast enough to really trip up any of the Japanese players if I were to assume. So could definitely see them going for that kind of angle. I think Fremont 2 is a bit too risky to go into, given how Sound Boomer just has a monopoly over all of anti-mod. So yeah, I think Japan actually have are pretty poised to make things close. If you look at everything from an objective bare bones perspective, right? Japan actually only need to win one more breakpoint from Team Russia to equalize the scoreline. Like, yeah, as long as they win this pick and their next, they can go to tiebreaker. So Japan, for what it's worth, are actually giving Russia a run for their money. They're not going down without a fight.
I mean, Gamili, like, the current situation on itself, like, this is not supposed to be happening. I mean, Japan, yes, they're pretty good, but they are up against a seed 5 team, and the difference between the seeds is just colossal. And with Japan already taking 3 points on the board, like that's just not something that was in my plans, in my preparations due to this match. Like I thought Japan would take 1 or 2 points and that's it, but they're already surprising all of us, and they're going for another control map. Ooh.
The No Mod 3 pick definitely makes a lot of sense. However, you know, it's difficult. Okay, of course, I have to be the devil's advocate whenever Japan goes for any pick. And it goes for every single pick that Japan could have gone for here, right? Every single pick left is so Russia-coded that, you know, even though it looks good for Japan, it's very difficult to make a case for them. But for what it's worth, of all the picks left, I do think that this No Mod 3, alongside the Free Mod 3, were their two best options. You know, whereas everything they had like a 20% chance of winning, this is their 40% chance. This No Mod 3, the main question I think is gonna be whether Japan was able to win that Free Mod 1 because of their skill on the mapping, on the patterns that took place on the Free Mod 1, or was it because Japan was just overall stronger on the mods? We're gonna have that question answered now with this No Mod 3. Where, you know, it is a blanket no mod, everybody can play it, so it's really just going to be left down to the mapping. It's going to be left down to the map itself for the main point of difficulty to take hold. We saw this exact same case in Halv 3, where Japan were able to make it close. Despite the fact that Japan were able to make it close on the Halv 3, they got completely curb-stomped on the No Mod 4, and that really has to just be attributed to the fact that Japan had that hard rock advantage over Russia. So now the question is, will Japan be able to replicate that same score on Free Mod 1, that same level of dominance on Free Mod 1, without that sort of high ground when it comes to the mods?
Well, yeah, they kind of have to. After all, if they lose this one, it's game over. And this number 3, it is exactly what you're expecting from a number 3. 150 BPM, so a bit high in terms of those wiggly patterns. It features a lot of low aim in the verses of the map and a lot of snap ult patterns in the KIs of the map. So, you know, you have a very good balance of those ult departments that you have in this number 3, and it's great to see. For Japan, if they're picking it, that means they are very much confident when it comes to that ult department that you have. And they must perform over the top to match Russia on this one, because Russia, I mean, after all, you have Baby, Icestones, Rage and Dash and Frin, and this is the most experienced tourney lineup from Team Russia that you have here, and they do not want to get another opportunity for Team Japan. They want to finish it off and move on to their next match, which so far turns out to be a bit of a problem for them.
Yeah, that's right. Game ending. I think it also is sort of Russia's hubris that they are making it a bit more difficult than they have to when it comes to game ending. But I do think, given how this early tempo of No Mod 3 is going, they are definitely looking a lot more poised to win a point on this No Mod 3. Of course, we're still early onsets of the map, still a lot more to be desired, so we'll just have to wait and see, right? It's gonna take some time for the map to really kick in and for us to see some action. We get into the first KI here, but really the jump in difficulty is not that much larger than what we've already seen in the versus. Where the versus focus a little bit more on the flow, this KI focus a little bit more on the snap aim. Icestone's gonna be the one to find the miss, gonna trade up that earlier miss coming in from Kotomori, but for what it's worth, Russia is still holding a slight combo high ground against the likes of Japan, just off the back of that early miss from Kyria.
Yep, indeed, Russia is not giving up though. Hold on, there's a double break from the bottom row of Team Russia. Only Rage and Dashi to try and keep up with the Japanese full combos. Choco and Amber are
Hold
here.
up.
They see the light at the end of the tunnel, Gamili. We're back to square one. They're pulling it back. But they need more time. They need more of those stable scores. Choco and Amber cannot afford any mistakes. We're only halfway through the map. If either of them goes down, that's gonna be almost impossible for Japan to bring back the score lead.
I mean, Philosopher, in your own words, right? They put their first foot on the base of the mountain, but the question is, can they survive the climb? They're going into the last KI of the map. Last third of the map, and Choco and Amber are not giving up for a second. I mean, there's no combos on the side of Russia to respond against the two double FCs on the side of Japan. And I mean, these are very, very good FCs, very, very qualified FCs with extremely high accuracies as well. And as the score shifts over to the right side, it's looking more and more doable for Japan to take this point home.
Yeah,
what are they doing?
There is no mercy in those movements, Gamil. There is only mastery from those two players. They're tearing this map apart. They're carving it open. They're hitting that wiggly flow aim section. Japan stop with 270k. That is the highest advantage that they have ever had against Team Russia. It's growing almost exponentially at this point, Gamili.
Oh, the curse of the No More 4 will not repeat itself. Amber might have found the miss, but it's a ghost town for the entirety of Team Russia as Choco runs away as the lone survivor of the KI. Japan, 15 seats down, makes it close. Last pick magic.
And there you have it, 5-2-4. Russia had it under control for most of the match. It was 4-0, and look at how tables have turned. One more mistake from them and we will see a tiebreaker, Gamili. That was not on my bucket list.
How?
I have no clue. I have no clue how this is happening.
You know, okay, for reference chat, how crazy this scoreline is to us. Philoxen and I took this match on a whim, right? There were no casters for this match, and you know, we were just like, yeah, you know what? I want to cast this weekend. I want to cast the view this weekend, Philoxen. No homo, of course. And then we signed up for the match with each other. And Philoxen was like, you know, Gamili, I really don't think they'll be able to do anything. I don't think it'll be a close match. And I was in full agreement. Let's do it. And by God, I think Russia's hubris is catching up to them. By no means do I think Russia have lost it. By no means do I think that Japan have, you know, a good shot at making it to the tiebreaker. Important to note, they still haven't played into any one of the game-ending guillotine picks. But Japan is making it very, very scary for Team Russia. So scary for Russia.
I know, right? Like Russia is reconsidering their choices. They lost a break, they lost their own pick. Now they lost a pick from Team Japan. Last pick is
They have to go. They have to go. Just go for Hidden 2. I'm begging Russia.
Oh no, they are not going for Hidden 2, man. The last map that we're gonna see, the last pick from Team Russia, it is Primo 2. It is a map from KT Gister, Gamili.
Oh my goodness, Philoxen. Holy hell.
I'm anticipating Sound Boomer to go crazy on this one. And if he doesn't, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be tiebreaker.
I'm anticipating the exact same team for you, right, Philoxen? But you know, you can't talk about this without talking about it in the context of the match that we've had at hand. For what it's worth, a lot of things point to this being a decent, point to Japan having a decent shot at this Fremont 2. They've won on every single control pick. 1, they beat Russia on the Fremont 1 and the Nomad 3. 2, they've beaten Russia on the Fremonts before. You know, even with Sound Boomer's easy, it was not enough to topple the likes of Team Japan, and they did beat Russia on the Fremont 1. And 3, the only other close analog in terms of skill set to this Fremont 2 is the Hard Rock 2. And guess who came out on top on that Hard Rock 2? Russia avoided, they actively avoided the Hidden 2. You know, they didn't want to play into it, possibly because they were scared of Japan doing something on that. So in that front, there is definitely a possibility, there is definitely a world where we get to see a game or a map 11 scenario, tiebreaker scenario for this series. And I'm so excited for the ride.
I will completely lose it if we do in fact see a tiebreaker. But you know, the points that you made, it's not even that. Like, it's not only that. it's also that this map, it does feature a lot of, you know, those wiggly flow streams at low BPM. And like when it comes to flow, who won that No 1-3 gun really? It was Japan. It was Japan.
Yeah.
This one is of course like a completely different type of flow, but it's still flow. Like the point stands, and
it's slow enough that
Yeah.
the finger control isn't gonna be a problem. Like we saw the finger control be a problem on the DT3, but it's a way different world down here, you know, where we're all the way down at 146 BPM. It's palatable for Japan. So I mean, again, it's a risky pick from Russia. I don't think that this was their best angle, but if they have to go for a pick like this, it really makes me think: were they as strong? Were they as confident on the Hidden 2, the DT1, the Halv 1 as they were expected to be? Only time will tell for Loxon. But for what it's worth, this is the final pick from Team Russia, the final pick of this series, full stop. And at the very end of this pretty short 2 minutes and 20 seconds, we either go to tiebreaker or it's goodbye for Japan. But no matter what it is, I think Japan can be more than proud of what they've displayed on screen for us today.
Hell, I am proud of Japan for what they did already, man.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Oof, and the mod combinations on the side of Team Russia, they just keep surprising me.
Oh my god, hidden freaking easy, bro.
The hidden easy and a hidden hard rock from Ice Stones. Once again, those two are just going crazy, and Japan is gonna be taking a critical hit right off the bat. 3 FCs down already, and Russia with 120k. Hold on, Russia. Free mods is something that they've always been good at, but we just haven't really realized in this match against Japan. And now here they are with already 170k, and the accuracies are also crazy.
Yeah, the bells are already ringing as Russia is holding such an early advantage against Team Japan, right? Where Japan is really struggling to make amends on the combo and accuracy fronts. Russia is just pushing in both aspects. Every single one of their scores has just incredible accuracies. Before that one flowing pattern, none of their players dropping below that 98%. And as we move into the KI, we're only expecting to see more blood spill from the right side. Amber really just left on his lonesome. The big carry, the big bird of the flock for this Japanese roster throughout this entire map is once again going to be left on his lonesome, being surrounded by the sharks that is Ice Toad, Wavy, and Sound Boomer, continuing their trudge further and further to the KI, unrelenting, uncontested.
Yep, Russia, the unbreakable wall, the unstoppable force, finally getting that performance that they needed to finish off this match against Japan. That's gonna be it. Gamili already 600k. And with that, you look at Team Russia, and I'm glad to announce that the Kings of Europe are starting their loser bracket journey with a decisive victory against Japan, and they're looking for vengeance. Their journey will continue on, and that's a very tragic outcome for Japan as well. They fought with pride. They fought with pride, given they did everything they could. And you cannot even blame them for the maps they lost. It is really painful.
It's so painful because if you go back to what we saw from the Hard Rock 3, right? Imagine a world where it was different. Japan could have won out a break point. They could have won out on their own picks, and we might have been able to see the favorite tiebreaker. But as we come to the ending sections of Foreverly Happily, it was just not meant to be. It will be goodbye for Japan, but definitely one that they can hold their head up high. Japan, a very, very impressive performance this entire 5-digit World Cup, giving Russia a run for their money despite being a 7-man roster. I think they can hold their chin up high and look towards next year with even brighter prospects. But I think with that, Philoxen, Russia will be moving forward in the losers bracket to face off against their next opponent. You have any last words before we close off the stream?
Japan, you can be proud of yourself. You almost brought the European champions to the tiebreaker, and thanks for giving us such an entertaining match. But with that, Russia, they have a long journey going on in that losers bracket. It's a
bumpy one. It's a bumpy one.
They will do their best to come back to winners bracket. I am sure of that, and they will do their best to get a revenge on United Kingdom that sent them down to losers bracket as well. But that is a story for another day as of now, because Russia is going to be advancing, and that is the end of that story. Japan, they are C20. They got their respective placement in the tournament, and that is a victory in my book, Gamili. But with that, we're going to be rounding it up.
Yep, that's right. Japan, I think despite the fact that they might have lost the match, they've most definitely won the hearts of the people. Fantastic showing from this Japanese roster. I cannot stress it enough. But for Lawson, I like the you know, put down some of my premonitions for Team Russia. Russia being the European champions, right? I think they've really been taking a large hit, and I think there was an absence of violence and left-footed during this match. So, despite the fact that this match was very, very close, I do believe that it does not paint a true story of the strength of this Russian roster. So, we're definitely gonna hope that that's the case, and we're gonna hope that they are in a much better position and they have a much better trajectory going to the later matches. But, of course, Philopson, only time will tell. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in for this 5-digit World Cup stream. I do believe that we have one more match prepared for you later on in this week, and that's going to be Taiwan versus Indonesia tomorrow at Sunday, 9 UTC. But until then, huge shout outs to Tay for being our lovely streamer for this match, dealing with all of the kerfuffles that were being thrown at us due to Bancho. And of course, huge shout outs to you, Philoxen, for being my lovely co-cast today for this match. But with that, you guys have been watching the 5-digit World Cup. My name has been Gavin Crayola, and we will see you tomorrow. Goodbye!
Bye bye!